Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sharirasya Cha Vaidyakena Yopakarotam Pravaram Munina Patanjalim Pranjaliranatosmi Abahu Purushakara Shankhachakrasidharinam Sahasrashirasam Shvetam Pranamami Patanjalim Shrimate Anantaya Nagarajaya Namo Namaha. We will begin today's session chanting the Yoga Sutras from chapter 2, 2.1 to 2.11. Tapaha Svādhyāya Īśvara Pranidhānani Kriya Yoga Samadhi Bhavanarthaha Klesha Tanu Karanarthascha Avidya Asmita Raga Dvesha Abhiniveshaha Kleshaha Avidya Kshetram Uttaresham Prasupta Tanu Vichhinna Udarana Anitya Ashuchi Dukkha Anatmasu Nitya Shuchi Sukha Atmakhyatihi Avidya Drigdarshana Shaktyoho Ekatmata Iva Asmita Sukhanushayi Ragaha Dukkhanushayi Dveshaha Swarasavahi Vidushopi Samarudhaha Abhiniveshaha Te Prati Prasavaheyaha Sukshmaha Dhyanaheyaha Tadvrittayaha. Please close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, simply allowing your mind to stay with your breath as you inhale and you exhale. When you are ready, please open your eyes. Last week, we began our exploration of emotional healing and emotional well-being with giving focus to our asana pranayama practice. We looked at what happens when we listen, or like Lekha calls it, when we tune in while we do our practice on the mat. We begin with observing. Are we simply listening to what our body is saying? Today, now, are we listening? Or are we comparing it to what was or what we want it to be? The practice on the mat in combination with listening from a deeper place allows us greater feedback. It can be a mirror, a reflection of where I am, of choices I have made, of what has impacted me, food I have eaten, how well I've slept, what activities I have undertaken. Yoga tells us perception is an interplay between the mind, the senses, and the object. And while the mind should ideally be clear, a clear reflector, most times it is colored, it is clouded by experiences and by expectations, and by our quickness in interpreting, in categorizing, and in meaning making. Observation is what allows us to see raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, and or asmita without correlation, without judgment. Each of these impact how we interact and impact our perception. For example, let's say we see a dog somewhere and we have had a happy experience before. So we just walk up to the dog thinking we can pet it. The dog comes with its own issues, right? So it may bark, it may lunge to bite, and that can just suddenly frighten us. The next time we see a dog, there is a shrinking maybe. If we continue to meet other dogs that bark at us or have aggressive behavior, we start shying away from the dog. After some time, we may shy away from making relationships, having friendships with people who have a dog or visiting homes that have a dog. So one instance that gets reinforced, if we are not thinking clearly, if we are not in that moment, can color how we land up looking at things and where we respond from. This then is yoga's promise, that the more we recognize, we see what is happening within us and outside us, the better we are able to respond to a situation with greater appropriateness, so that harmony is maintained within and outside us. We are able to observe, to see, to watch, to recognize both ourselves and the other. And by that very act of observation, in that very moment, we are able to cleanse. When we are able to catch all the layers of our perception to understand how we see the world, we bring mindfulness to that process. We observe, what am I seeing? What are my thoughts? Why am I seeing this? What are my emotions? So the greater the sight of the inner process, the greater the clarity of action, the greater the harmony, which then leads us to a feeling of quiet within. So at that next instance, or at the next encounter, our mind is less colored, allowing a response that is more in harmony, allowing a greater cleansing and purification. All of asana, pranayama, and mindfulness is to increase mindfulness in us, to recognize and stay with what is evoked in us, so as to lead us further and further into a space of harmony and well-being. From this quiet space, I invite Saras to speak to us and to share and teach us about Kriya Yoga.
Thank you, Gauri, for a very beautiful summary. Since I didn't attend last week, I think I got a glimpse of the whole thing now. So we had received some feedback from Vishnu primarily, saying that, maybe we need to make this whole thing a little bit lighter, probably, so that doesn't sound very heavy and serious. And here we are all the time talking about dukkham, talking about suffering and how to deal with it. Whereas normally you would have thought yoga is all about being happy and relaxed and calm. And this is the kind of impression that you get. I remember I was traveling, and in one of the workshops, somebody said, when I see, so her daughter belongs to a meditation group, a Buddhist meditation group. And this lady, she's 80 years old. She came for the workshop with her daughter. She said, when I see the people that my daughter meditates with, they are so peaceful and calm and relaxed. I want to be like that, So it might be a good entry point for attracting people. Say, oh, I want to be calm and relaxed like you. So let me come and do what you're doing. Right? But once you get into yoga, you really realize it is not just about being calm and relaxed. Maybe that is the starting, right? If I am all the time agitated, stressed out, worried, sick, I cannot really think about anything else except the problem, right? So we get so consumed by the problem that we cannot put our mind to anything else. We cannot think about other people, the world, what is happening. We are so consumed by ourselves. So the starting point of the engagement with yoga is to really be able to start with practices that will help to calm the mind. That will get, that the mind will have the ability to settle down, to just be quiet for a little while. And you will definitely feel a lot of calmness and relaxation in your body. If there are general aches and pains, they will come down or they will go away. Maybe your digestion will improve, your sleep will definitely improve. You begin to see that you are not so much driven by emotions. You don't act in a very impulsive manner all the time, right? So there are many benefits that one experiences in the beginning of a good practice, I would say. Yeah. That is only the starting point. So unless the mind calms down, unless I feel reasonably relaxed, I cannot pay attention to this moment and what is happening, right? So yoga practices like asana, pranayama, some amount of meditation, taking care of your food, sleep, all of that will help you to achieve a certain state of mind from where you can start looking within yourself more deeply. Okay, so what yoga does is that it creates conditions for you to turn inward. Okay, that we are not constantly looking at the problems of life and pointing a finger outside saying, if this situation or those people change, I will be better. So we are not in yoga, we are in the direction outward. And this is called bhoga. I get consumed by the problems outside of me, and I think the solution of my problems lies outside of me. I've given away control to some external agents. We might think that is God, we might think it is people, life situations, and we are constantly being tossed around in this ocean of dukkham. That's what we call samsara sagar. It's like an ocean. Okay. When the mind becomes reasonably quiet, it's like you go into this ocean at a certain depth. There is a quietness that you experience. And from there, when you look at the surface of the ocean, you're not disturbed so much by what's happening up there. It's at a superficial level. You're able to look at it and understand it better. You have a different perspective to that same situation. You're able to quieten down, you're able to gather yourself and really focus on what you need to do. You begin to see that it's something inside me that is continuing to generate pain and suffering. And if I understand that, what is the cause for my suffering, that is being generated from within me, then I can really deal with it. Yeah, I can put an end to it, or at least I can minimize it to the extent possible. So this ability to go deeper within, turn inward, is something that one has to develop. Okay. And what Patanjali offers in the beginning of the second chapter, which is for a habitually distracted, a habitually disturbed mind. It's called a vyuthita chitta, a jumpy mind, like a rubber ball. It keeps jumping, running around and really not being able to be there and look at something with quietness. For such a mind, Patanjali offers Kriya Yoga. Kriya means action. Okay, the yoga of action. The idea is very simple. From the time we wake up to the time we go to bed, yeah, including our sleep, is an action. So, how do you bring yoga into every action that we do, that we engage with? Because all our suffering comes from how we act and how we respond to what happens to us with other people's action, or something that is happening in the world that is impacting. Even if I'm not doing anything, it is impacting me. So if I learn how to act in the world, then I can move towards yoga and away from getting trapped in suffering, which is called bhoga. Okay. So how to move from bhoga into yoga is Kriya Yoga. So the first step is to look at what is it that's inside me that is causing this pain inside. So I begin to see that if I am doing an action, I already come with a certain expectation of a fruit, of a result. Okay? And I want that to be positive. I want that to be giving me happiness and comfort. But if that action leads to a result that is not making me happy, that is not affirming me, then I get upset. Okay? So there is something inside me that makes me attached to what is going to give me pleasure. So I get attached to objects, I get attached to people, I get attached to certain ways in which things should be or should not be, right? I also get attached to me in a certain form that I want to see and I want people to see. Okay? That is called raga. So we looked at this quite in detail, and we will, of course, if you really choose to plunge into the yoga sadhana, the proper course, we will do this in a little bit more detail, where we're able to understand really what this raga means in our daily life, how it shows up in every situation, in every action, in every response we make in our daily life. The other side of raga is, I don't want pain. I don't want to suffer. Okay, this is a huge thing. We always meet the world every moment with this fear that, oh, will this situation hurt me? Will this cause me pain? Will that person behave in a way that will hurt me? So I'm already moving into the world with my armor and sword and all that in a very subtle way. Okay, I will build my walls. I want to protect myself all the time because I don't want to get hurt. That feeling that I don't want to get hurt, and if I get hurt, or even the potential of getting hurt, I start developing aversion, negativity, hostility towards situations and people. This is really the root of all prejudice in the world. This is called dvesha. Dvesha is, I am separate, you are separate. I want to move away from. Okay. The third is my identification with who I am not, what I like, what I don't like, all of that, which is my asmita. And then the field that is constantly protecting me in this form, that I have to continue to exist in this form forever and ever again, that's expressed as a certain existential fear. The anxieties that we experience in our life is all rooted in what we call abhinivesha. So raga, dvesha, asmita, abhinivesha. These are what we call kleshas, that which makes the mind impure, that which causes pain, that which causes suffering. Okay, so Patanjali says Kriya Yoga is a process of really understanding how to clean your mind of these impurities, how to minimize them, how to keep them in the seed form so that they don't sprout and they don't manifest in a very powerful manner and disturb me and cause me to act in a way that will further get me entangled in suffering, right? So how to clean the mind. That is one aspect of Kriya Yoga. Now, in all our actions, we've already acted, we've already sown the seed, watered it, and it has its own time. It will grow, the plant will grow, it will mature, it will bear fruits. That is the nature of our reality, right? So one is to really take care of this field and protect it and make sure that you're feeding these seeds positive samskaras, positive habit of mindfulness, being attentive, not being so attached to the result and all that. The other is not to feed the seeds of raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, asmita. Okay? That process of feeding what is positive, not feeding what is going to cause more suffering, is an act of great attention. It's something that I have to do all the time, constantly. Okay? That ability to be deeply attentive, mindful, and act in a way that you only feed positive seeds, you don't nurture negative seeds, is called tapas. Tapas has different meanings, okay, different ways in which you can explore the idea of tapas. At one level, it is called austerity or penance. It's like we have heard of Bhagirath, sage Bhagirath, who did penance for thousands of years to bring Ganga to the earth to wash the sins of his forefathers, right? So you go to Mahabalipuram in just a little away from Chennai, where you have these rock carvings of Bhagirath doing his penance. So that is one aspect of tapas. But yoga does not recommend that you have to starve yourself, stand on one leg and go through so much of hardships, because even that can easily weaken your resolve. Or if your resolve is very strong, it can make you so identified with this, I am the strong person and I can get anything, right? So tapas in Kriya Yoga is simply mindful actions to purify our system at all levels. And here the purification is not so much happening with earth or water or wind, but with fire. The element is fire. You're using the heat. It could be the heat of your digestive fire that helps you to digest your food. It could be the heat of your mental fire that helps you to look at something with great clarity and act with conviction. Yeah, it could be the meditative fire that helps you to move inward and have the courage to continue this journey inward in spite of all the obstacles that come up. So it is the idea of the fire that cooks, that burns, and that allows the fruit to mature. So the plant has to mature to become a tree. The tree has to bring out flowers. The flowers become fruits. And then once it has become a fruit, right, you don't have to do much. The fruit, when it ripens, it will fall off the tree, right? So this is the idea of tapas. And why fire is when the fruit falls off the tree, you can burn the seed so that it does not sprout anymore. So it is possible that you can fry the seed or burn the seed. So it doesn't create more raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, and asmita. So essentially, tapas at a much deeper level is to learn to purify, learn to know what to purify, how to purify. Okay, using the heat of your body, the heat of your mind, yeah, the clarity that it brings you. And also, eventually, to be able to purify yourself of yourself. The most important thing to purify is our idea of the self. Yeah, because we are constantly fortifying it, we are constantly strengthening it. At every level, when I experience sukham, happiness, I get attached to that feeling of happiness and whatever object or situation that gave me that happiness. And I also get attached to that form of me that gave me that happiness. So if people say, oh, you are very good at doing this, how wonderful, you're able to do it so perfectly. How are you able to do it so perfectly? So I have a friend, I have a very dear friend whose house is always spick and span. Okay, when I go there, I feel really bad. Oh my God, how I keep my house. But her house is so beautifully maintained. And everybody who comes to her house obviously will tell her how beautifully you maintain your house. Oh my God, how are you able to do that? How perfect. Okay. That house is not just the house is also herself. So she has also become her house, right? It's not just a place, a space that you live in. It is who you are. So she has to work double hard, triple hard, 10 times harder as she is aging, growing older, and she's struggling with help at home and all that, that her whole obsession is about keeping her house clean because that's who she is. That's how people see her. That's how people identify her with. Yeah. So it can be your house, it can be your car, it can be your body, it can be who you are in this world, it can be how you do your work, how much we get identified with it, we get attached to it, right? Tapas is to really purify this form of ourselves and to help us to see that I am not just this, I am more than this and I am beyond this. So tapas is a process by which you start moving inward. You look at all those forms of yourself that you're attached to or averse to, that you don't want to look at, and say, I am this, I am that, and I am more than that. It helps you to see more clearly who you are and what you need to let go of so that you can really journey towards who you truly are. So the second aspect of Kriya Yoga, we'll come to that in a while. I want you to stay with this idea of tapas, the idea of purification, the idea of bringing great attention to everything that we are doing. And this is really the practice of mindfulness, filling your mind with just that moment and deeply looking at something so you understand what is that I need to remove, what is that I need to cleanse. Okay. Removing is not just rearranging your house and cleaning. We still have to do that. It does not mean that you don't keep your house clean or you don't keep your body clean. But to truly understand that what I'm struggling to perfect is all the time changing. My body is all the time changing. My mind is all the time changing. I, as a person, am all the time changing, right? So the more I pay attention to tapas, to the cleaning process, the more clarity I get to truly know who I am and what direction I have to move. So Krishnamacharya talked about tapas at a very basic level. Okay, this is for a beginner practitioner. We are not looking at somebody who gets into yoga and goes into a tapas and says, now I will practice 3 hours a day. I will eat food that is perfect for me. I will live a very mindful, perfect life. Nobody is like that. Okay, we are coming into yoga with a lot of struggle, with a lot of angst, with a lot of problems. And we have to discover every step for ourselves through our practice. So the first step Krishnamacharya talks about is pay attention to your food. Okay, food and paying attention to food, choosing the right kind of food that is beneficial for you, that is wholesome for you. Okay, the right quantity of food, eating when you are hungry, eating in a way that you really respect your body and nature, the earth, and all that is provided you with that mindful eating, right? And eating food that is nourishing you, that will cleanse you, not what will make your body and mind impure. So fundamentally, food that does not agitate your mind, make you feel more restless, that does not promote the rajasic quality in the body and mind. And not eating food that will increase heaviness and dullness and lethargy and create more impurities in the system, tamasic food. Okay? Choosing food that will promote the quality of sattva in our body and mind. At the level of the body, sattva brings lightness. At the level of the mind, sattva means clarity, light. So I can see better. I can understand situations better, and I can act in a way that I can move towards yoga and away from bhoga. So food is very, very fundamental. And when I'm talking about food, of course, we are talking about pure food, healthy food, wholesome food, balanced food, and all that, organic, biodynamic, whatever you might call. But primarily, food that promotes sattva reduces rajas and tamas in your system. That is how yoga looks at food. So we have to discover it. We all have different digestive capacity because of our constitution. And our constitution also determines whether we move a lot or don't move at all, right? It determines whether we do a lot of work or we conserve energy and don't do much work. We make other people do our work. There are many, many things that our constitution decides. Okay? The constitution also decides whether you are well built or whether you're going to be thin, whether it's easy for you to lose weight, whether it's difficult for you to lose weight. All that is determined by our constitution. So even to understand who I am at a physical, physiological level, I have to start paying attention to the food that I eat. So that this food will purify me. It will purify me of the impurities at the physical, physiological level. It will be easy for me to digest the food, eliminate the waste and the toxins from my system. And the food also promotes sattva, reduces rajas and tamas in my system. It brings more clarity, lightness. It makes me more stable and steady. It will reduce the heaviness and the dullness and the indulgent nature of the mind. So it's extremely important so that we make the right choices through our mind and sense organs. Okay, this is tapas, one aspect of tapas. The other aspect of tapas is communication. Okay, speech. So how can I speak, express myself, communicate in the world? Okay, through my actual speech, through my actions in a way that will purify me and not create more problems. So Patanjali recognizes that all actions, and particularly our actions in the world with people, have the potential to create a lot of pain and suffering. Okay? And we often think it is other people who are causing us pain. It's hard to look at ourselves and say, I am causing it. But yoga demands that you look at yourself and start from food and then go to speech and say, what's that I'm saying? How am I communicating? How am I expressing myself in this world that is actually getting me caught in the cycle of suffering? So can my speech purify me? Can my speech be in such a way that it will cleanse me? That becomes tapas. So it means that I practice ahimsa, that I express myself, I speak in a way that I don't cause pain to another. And at the same time, I stay with the truth of my reality. I communicate my truth with ahimsa. So Satyam and Ahimsa become very fundamental practices of tapas. Eating good food is a practice of tapas. Asana is a practice of tapas because you're purifying yourself. Pranayama is also the practice of tapas. In fact, pranayama is considered the highest form of tapas because it not only purifies your system of physical, metabolic ways, but also it purifies your mind, it purifies your sense organs, it purifies your intentions, it continues to help you to purify your actions, right? So that you create less and less suffering for yourself and the world. So we will now do a practice of tapas. Okay? And it is important that you bring a certain attitude in your action. This attitude, the spirit of your action is really Kriya Yoga. It's not just doing an action. We all are acting all the time. We're acting with attention, without attention, partial attention, whatever. But here it says, do it with great attention, with a certain attitude of purifying. Okay. So what you will do is, we are going to do one asana and some pranayama practice. So you're going to inhale, okay, with this great attention, you draw the breath in, you bring it to your abdomen, to your belly, and you visualize that you're activating your digestive fire. You're also activating the fire of your attention, your awareness, okay, with your inhalation. Pause for a little while, maybe 2 or 3 seconds. Really let that fire blow and burn and heat up your system. Okay. Then you exhale slowly. While you're exhaling, you visualize that you're removing your system of all unnecessary stuff. Okay, the waste, the impurities, the toxins, anything that does not belong to this moment, let it go out of your system. At the end of your exhalation, just be quiet for a little while to experience that pure state. Okay. So Tadasana, Shipra. Yeah. So exhale completely, start with emptying, start with removing what you're holding inside your system through the breath. Pause for a little while. Now, as you inhale, raise your arms from the sides all the way up. Direct the breath towards the fire in your belly. Hold your breath there for a few seconds. Start exhaling, focusing on your lower abdomen. Lower your arms. Remove, let go of all that is waste, that is old, that is stale from your system. So just repeat this a few more times. As you inhale, raise your arms, raise your head, look up. Pause, focus on the fire in your belly. Exhale, lower your head, lower your arms, let go, cleanse your system. Hold your breath for a few seconds. Feel the emptiness, feel the pure space within. Repeat one more time. Exhale down. Really hold the attitude, hold the attention. Now 3 times you will raise your heels without raising your head. Lock your fingers, turn the palms out and stretch. Okay, start inhaling. Again, directing your attention from the nostrils all the way down to your belly. Lock and stretch with your heels up. Stay. Hold for a few seconds. Start exhaling. From the lower abdomen, relax your chest. Emptying, releasing, letting go. Stay in the emptiness for 2 or 3 seconds. Repeat 2 more times. Okay, one last time with complete attention. You know that you're purifying your system with every breath. Wonderful. Now just sit down. You can sit on a chair or you can sit on the ground. We're going to do just a few breaths of pranayama with focus on tapas. Okay. So the same visualization. You're going to inhale, breathe through your nostrils, down your throat, or through the chest into the belly. Hold your breath for a few seconds, maybe 3 to 4 seconds. And then exhale slowly from the lower abdomen. And as you exhale, visualize you're removing all the impurities from your system. And I'm going to ask Shipra to do a very simple pranayama practice that we call Seethkari. Okay, it's summer, most part of the world now. Okay, except down south, southern hemisphere. So we want to really focus on cooling down the breath. Okay. Seethkari does not necessarily cool the breath, but it really helps you to focus on inhalation. It helps you to deepen your inhalation. So keep your mouth open, slightly like a wide smile. Keep a small gap between the teeth and hold the tongue within. Okay. And inhale through the mouth. As you inhale, raise your head. Close your mouth. Bring your chin down and then start exhaling through your nostrils. Now, as you inhale, as you raise your head, straighten your spine. Really feel the lengthening of the chest and the abdomen so that the breath flows all the way down into the navel. Close your mouth. Hold your breath, bring your chin down, focus on the navel. And then start exhaling from the lower abdomen, releasing, letting go, purifying your whole system. So repeat a few more breaths. As you inhale, you're feeding the fire, you're stoking the fire inside you. Bring your chin down, bring your attention to the navel. Start exhaling, drawing the impurities towards the fire, burning them and releasing them from your system. Whatever these impurities are, at all levels. Three more breaths with complete attention. One more breath. Direct the fire of your attention to your breath, taking your awareness all the way down to the belly. Hold for a few seconds. Exhale completely, visualizing you're removing the impurities from your system with every exhalation. Then just stay quiet in that empty space. Wonderful. So you come back to your natural breath. Just observe that for a little while. Okay, you can come back to your seat. So what asana, pranayama, eating the right kind of food, and just engaging consciously through your communication does is it purifies our system of excess of the active energy, which is rajas, and the excess of the heavy energy, which is tamas. So that is a purification that is happening through tapas. Okay, that I don't become too agitated, too restless, and I'm not jumping around. Yeah, I'm able to be attentive and steady and stable. At the same time, I don't increase the heaviness and the dullness and the indulgent nature of the body and mind. Okay, that is a form of purification that is happening through tapas. Now, as I continue to do that, I also need a direction. Why do I have to move inward when the world is offering so much of excitement? All the drama, all the excitement is happening outside. Yeah. By engaging with people, objects, the world, possessions, consumption. So much of excitement is there outside of me. Why would I move in? So boring, so difficult also, right? To move in. There's really no excitement in that process. So the second aspect of Kriya Yoga is Svādhyāya. Svadhyaya, can we just have that slide on, please? The Tapas Svādhyāya Īśvara Pranidhāna slide. Yeah. So Svādhyāya is to move towards oneself, Svādhyāyanam, to intensely direct your attention within yourself and move towards your true nature. Okay, Svadhyaya requires that we study, that we engage with study in a way that I will be reminded that this is a direction I have to go and not out. So something that will constantly remind me. The study of Yoga Sutra is Svadhyaya. The chanting is Svadhyaya. This discussion that we are having right now is Svadhyaya. So as you listen, you're also processing parallelly, right? You're realizing there is another possibility, another way to live that will take me towards yoga and away from getting consumed by suffering. So that movement is Svadhyaya. It requires that we keep study as a constant part of our daily life. To have some form of reflection. I can either read a text or biography of a great master, or study yoga with a teacher, study the Yoga Sutras or Bhagavad Gita or any spiritual text. Yeah, it could be the text of Quran or Bible or whatever that helps you to really move inward, look at yourself and understand what is really this deeper inquiry all about. So the mind is like a huge, ocean. And what you see, what you understand, what you experience at a superficial level is just tip of the iceberg. Svadhyaya is to start moving inward and to really understand what is this inner process. Yeah, this is why yoga sadhana becomes so important, because normally when you go to a group class, when you practice, when you learn what to practice, you don't learn why you're practicing it. So we think I'm doing asana so that I can keep my spine flexible, I can keep my body strong, I can have an extraordinary body. That is not the idea. The idea of asana practice is to take care of your body and also learn to go beyond your body. Right? Doing pranayama is to purify not only your physical, physiological system, but to purify yourself, of your attachment to yourself. So how will you learn that? Only through study. Only through study and self-reflection. Okay, that is Svadhyaya. So it is definitely the process of learning to look at oneself more and more deeply with great attention. With compassion, of course. You're not looking at yourself through judgment. Svadhyaya is not self-analysis. Let us be very clear about it. So if you are looking at yourself and your mind is saying you should be like this, you should not be like this, you should have been like that, you're not good enough, you are really doing a lot of mistakes. Okay, that is not Svadhyaya. You can be very clear. If your judge is very strong in your mind, you have gone very far away from Svadhyaya. Yeah, you are simply judging yourself like you think the world is judging you. You're looking at yourself like the way you think the world is looking at you. That is not Svadhyaya. Svadhyaya is to look at oneself and really pay attention, to observe, to listen, and to do it with great compassion, also dispassion. I look at myself not with great attachment to who I have to be, okay, who I should not be, but really to look at oneself from a distance. And really say, yeah, this is who I am. This is who I can be. But who am I really? If I am all of this and more than this, I have to discover that me. Okay, so I start journeying inward. That is Svadhyaya. So we'll do a short Svadhyaya practice now. I mean, it is more like a symbolic practice, okay, of learning to withdraw your senses, that you're not just looking at yourself through the eyes of the world, which is again your own projection, but looking at yourself by withdrawing your attention within yourself and really listening, observing from a deeper location. Okay, so back to Shipra. We're going to do a short practice of pratyahara, okay, where you are directing your senses inward. You're closing the avenues of senses moving outward. So it's called Shanmukhi Mudra. It's only a symbolic practice. Okay. Remember, Svadhyaya is study, is chanting, is inquiring, reflecting. But here we are creating conditions for it. So open up your hand. Okay. Place the thumb against the ears so that you can close your ears. You have to take off your specs if you're wearing glasses. Now the index finger is above your eyelid and the middle finger is gently closing your eyelids, so shutting off one big sense organ that takes you outward. Then the ring finger is against the nostrils, another sense organ of smell. And then the little finger, the sides of your mouth. So keep your mouth closed. So you're paying attention to your tongue and speech. So keep your arms open, your elbows open. Bring your focus to your heart and just pay attention to the natural breath. So continue to do this. Once you settle down, make sure your shoulders are relaxed, your elbows are relaxed, your fingers and fingertips are relaxed, not pressing, forcing. Just direct your gaze inward into your heart. You're journeying towards yourself. You're moving into your heart space. You're settling down there. Just watching yourself in a very gentle, compassionate manner. From a little distance. You look at your thoughts. You look at feelings. You look at sensations in your body. And just observe all of that with a certain sense of dispassion. Dropping all judgments, the shoulds and should nots. Just be with yourself. If you feel any discomfort around your shoulders, neck, you can gently bring your hands down whenever you feel a lot of discomfort. Okay, to some extent, try to hold the discomfort. It is okay. It's temporary. But if you are very uncomfortable, gently bring your hands down to your lap. Continue to gaze inward. Keep your attention inward. Look at everything that arises right now in your mind, in your body. With each breath, just watch it, just look at it. Those of you who are still holding the Shanmukhi Mudra, you may bring your hands down. Continue to keep the focus on the heart. Relax your shoulders. Relax your neck. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay, now we come back to the slide. So we've looked at tapas, which is the action with great attention to purify all aspects of ourselves. Okay. Svādhyāya is to journey inward, to truly understand who we are. Okay, through study, through reflection, through continuously remembering what you have studied so that we keep this direction of moving inward. The third aspect of Kriya Yoga is called Īśvara Pranidhāna. Īśvara Pranidhāna, Īśvara is the higher intelligence. However you are relating to this, the intelligence behind all creation. You know, the intelligence behind nature, what takes care of this body, what is acting, what is continuously driving all our actions. That is Īśvara. Pranidhāna is to surrender, is to offer all our intentions, actions, and the result of our action to something that is higher, something that is larger, because that is that which is acting through all the living beings. Okay? So this idea of Pranidhāna is truly to learn how to build the attitude of offering the fruits of our action to something higher. Okay? It's an attitude to cultivate, to know that this action is happening through you, You are not acting. You are not the person who's doing it. So don't get attached to the result of the action, saying, this is my action. I did it. I need the fruit. Okay, I will not share it with anyone. I have to do things better than other people. I have to be seen as better than the other people. I constantly keep feeding this I. Īśvara Pranidhāna is to offer that to something higher. Okay, so we will, of course, journey towards this idea of Īśvara Pranidhāna. As you understand, as you pay attention, you begin to see that everything is deeply interconnected, interdependent. We think we are separate, we are individuals, we are the ones who are doing everything in this world, but we cannot act, we cannot even move a finger without so many factors coming together. How the body functions, how it takes care of itself, what resources we have in this world, the people around us, our life situation, so many factors that we can see, we cannot see, have to come together for something to happen through this entity. Yeah, to recognize that, to bow down to that, to remember that, and to journey towards that is Īśvara Pranidhāna. So we'll do a short practice now to connect with this quality of Īśvara Pranidhāna, the attitude of Īśvara. Okay, so Patanjali presents Īśvara as the highest teacher, and this Īśvara can be meditated upon so that you acquire the qualities of this higher intelligence, which is free from all impurities. So I journey towards that, and that will take me into a space of really discovering who I am. Okay? So Patanjali says Īśvara is Pranava. Pranava is the Pranava mantra Om. So as you chant this, you reflect on the qualities that you want to acquire, the qualities or the attributes of Īśvara, so that you can journey towards your true nature. So what we will do is, I want you to go back to your mats and sit quietly for just maybe half a minute. Bring your awareness to your heart. Okay? And we start chanting Om loudly for a little while. And then when I indicate, you continue to chant Om softly, focusing on the heart. Then you continue to chant Om mentally in your mind. Okay? And then you move into a space of complete silence, focusing on the heart, which is also the seat of Īśvara. Okay, so just do this practice. It's a very simple practice, but remember that it is the process of letting go of all attachments to the fruits of our action. Letting go of all attachments to who we are, so that we truly discover who we are. So please sit with your back erect. Bring your awareness to the breath. And start chanting Om loudly. And now you continue to chant softly, focusing on the heart. Pause for a little while at the end of the Om to experience the empty space of Īśvara. And now you continue to chant for a while mentally. Just chant Om in your mind, focusing on the heart. And slowly see yourself moving deeper and deeper into the space of Īśvara. And completely submitting to this higher intelligence that's guiding all of life. That's simply acting through this entity. See yourself bowing down and surrendering, emptying, just being that emptiness at the end of each Om chanted mentally. And now you continue to stay with your breath, and we bring in the spirit of Kriya Yoga into each breath. As you inhale, you become deeply attentive, deepen your awareness of the present moment. Svādhyāya. As you exhale, you purify your system, Tapas. And at the end of your exhalation, hold your breath for a few seconds, completely with the attitude of surrendering to Īśvara. Īśvara Pranidhāna. Inhale is Svadhyaya, exhale is Tapas, and suspending the breath at the end of exhalation for a little while, Īśvara Pranidhāna. Whenever you're ready, just drop the visualization. Just sit quietly for a little while. Recollect this whole process of bringing in the quality of tapas, learning to purify, learning to consume food that is pure, that will purify you, purify your body and your senses and your mind. Journeying towards yourself through study and self-reflection. Remembering this is a direction of freeing oneself from suffering. And learning to look at every action as an offering to the higher force. And really offering all the fruits of our action to Īśvara. And acting from that intent, with that attention and surrender. How to bring these qualities into every little action in our daily life. So your homework for this week will be to choose 1 or 2 things that you do every day. Okay? Where you bring this attitude of Tapas, Svādhyāya and Īśvara Pranidhāna into that action and continue to refine the action. Continue to refine your whole system, particularly the mind, so that we can journey towards yoga, away from yoga. So make a commitment that you will stay with Kriya Yoga with at least 1 or 2 actions in your daily life. It could be conscious speech, it could be eating mindfully, just 2 actions. But really you can bring it into every action. Okay. So this is about Kriya Yoga. You just scratched the surface of Kriya Yoga. And as you continue to stay with the practice, you will understand more and more. As you continue to study, you will journey more and more in this direction. And slowly we will discover what is Īśvara Pranidhāna. Time for questions. They're all the time taking more time than maybe we need more time than what is there.
I have a question. So just trying to clarify the homework exercise. So you want us to be mindful, find an activity where we're purposely mindful and present. Is that correct?
That action as a purifying action. So you have to ask yourself, how can I purify myself through this action? Whether it is food, whether it is speech, whether it is anything that you do, any action. Even if you are cleaning, how to clean inside while you're cleaning outside.
Cleaning inside, meaning like
attention.
Not
yeah.
Okay. Mindful attention to the task.
Yeah. So
and go ahead.
Yeah, please. It's clarification.
If we get distracted and off task to where our mind gets unfocused and we're not in the present, what can we do to help get our minds back on the present?
To recognize that you're not present already is an awareness. Just bring your mind back. Just bring it back quietly. Okay? But the most important thing in this practice is don't ask what you will get out of it. That is Īśvara Pranidhāna. That you're simply going to do it with the attitude of offering it to the world, to all the living beings. So your mindfulness is your tapas. Yeah. Your ability to be with yourself is Svadhyaya. And to do this action without any expectation, do the practice without any expectation, or offering that expectation also to Īśvara. Because we always have some expectation. Am I doing it correctly can be an expectation. So just offer it to Īśvara, let Īśvara guide. A quiet mind will automatically tell you which is the better way to do something. You don't need to get it from outside. Okay?
And it's a homework to do it, do one activity every day.
Every day.
Okay, and it doesn't have...
Yeah, rest of your life. But for 1 week, yeah.
Doesn't have to be the same activity every day. It can be a different activity every day.
Stay with 1 or 2 activities every day. So you keep refining it. You also understand how to do it better and better. Every day you change it. It will be more variety. And every time you're thinking, what now? What should I focus on? But if you choose 2 things to focus on, Just be with it.
And is the goal to sort of increase the number of activities every week
Just,
where we're more mindful?
just do two, because then again that will become a pressure. So the practice should not become a pressure. Just do, because the attention with which you do these two activities will actually give you quite a lot. And that quality will then pervade to everything else organically. So remember that you are not doing, you are not the doer here. Some action is happening through you, and you're doing that as an offering. So with great attention and love, yeah, bring that quality. Otherwise, it becomes another mundane action that we are doing, and then we get so identified.
Besides cleaning and eating, what are some other examples of mindful activities?
Yeah, listening, which is also part of communication. Anything that you do, you've taken up a project, you want to do it very well, do it as tapas.
A work project or personal project?
Your practice, your asana, your pranayama. So we did tapas, pranayama as tapas, right? Svādhyāya was to just be with yourself. And Īśvara Pranidhāna is to offer that. So even if you just did this practice that we did today, these 3 practices every day, that is enough. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Shall we stop the recording so that if anyone wants to share, they are more comfortable sharing?